Hi Kylie, my name's Tate Simmons and I'm a student physical therapist. How are you doing today?
I'm good, how are you?
Good, good. I'm just going to go over some of the precautions for your total hip replacement, okay? So I see that you had your total hip replacement on your right side, so that's going to be this leg. So we have 3 precautions that we want to keep track of while we're healing and in that healing process. We're going to try to keep these precautions for about 4 months. That just allows the muscles to really heal back and perform the stability that we need for the hip joint, as well as obviously the metal and the rods inside your leg healing as well. So our first precaution is that you don't want to sit with your hip in a degree bigger than 90. So that would be like, here's 90 degrees, right? So you want to try to keep your hip to like top of your leg, thigh ratio, at a wider degree than 90. Yeah? Mm-hmm. So for example, if I was sitting like this, my hip would be in 90 degrees with my legs, right? So we don't want to do that, right? So couple easy things to do whenever you're sitting. You can have an elevated seating surface or elevated sitting surface. You can put a pillow underneath your butt. You can also do some extenders on sofas, different stuff like that to kind of provide some stability on those cushions. So for example, whenever you're walking up to a chair, an easy way to check it, you're okay, you can stand. An easy way to check it is you're going to see where the chair hits you on the back of your knee. So let's pretend like this was a total chair. So do you see how the chair hits above your knee crevice here? Mm-hmm. So this would be a good quality chair to sit back in, right? So go ahead and have a seat. So do you see how when you're sitting that your knee is lower than your hip?
Yep. That
just ensures that we're in that good ratio of the degrees here for the hip. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. So the first contraindication is what? Or the first precaution?
You don't want your hip to be smaller than 90 degrees.
Yeah. So you want to stay away from that 90 degrees on here. You want it to be nice and longer. Yeah. Your next precaution is you don't want to internally rotate your feet, so no pigeon toeing, right? So I don't want you to practice it because, your hips obviously operated on, but that would be like standing like this, right? Or, sitting like that, or, sometimes when you're lying and you're rotating your toe in, you don't want to do that at all, okay? So it's okay to externally rotate your feet, so like kind of like a duck, but we don't want to internally rotate them. That just puts extra stress on that hip joint, okay? Mm-hmm. So our second precaution is?
Don't turn your toes inside.
Yep, don't turn your toes inside, perfect. And then the first one?
Don't sit at a 90.
Yeah.
Or sit at a larger angle.
Yep, so you don't want the hip to be at 90 at a larger angle, perfect. Your last precaution is going to be you don't want to cross your leg, so your affected leg or your surgery leg, over the midline of your body. So midline would be like where your belly button is split in half. So that would look like crossing your legs, right? Sitting, standing. So we don't want to do anything crossing here. Yeah, so that would ensure that your right leg, stays away from, like you can stand like this with your feet together, but you don't want to bring it past that feet together motion. Okay. So just if you can pretend like there's a wall right here of your body, you just don't want to cross that wall. Okay, so do you understand that one? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that, like I said, an example of that would be you can't cross your legs when you're sitting. It's a pretty common one. Also, when you're sleeping at night, you don't want to cross your legs, don't like lay on your side. So that one's tough. A good way to prevent the leg crossing at night is to sleep with a pillow between your legs. Or we have like a little wedge thing that your legs attach to and that velcros around, and that like keeps you in this type of motion. You can't do anything because the wedge prevents you. So the last precaution is?
Don't cross the midline of your body.
Perfect. So you can't do what when you're sitting?
Cross your legs.
And you can't do what when you're standing?
Cross your legs.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay, so then your first precaution was what?
Don't sit at a 90 degree angle, sit at a larger angle.
Perfect, with the hip. Got it. Second one was?
Don't point your toes inward.
Yeah. So no pigeon toeing, rotating toes in. And your third precaution?
Is don't cross your legs at all.
Yes, so you don't want to cross that leg past that midline. Perfect, good job.